This episode of Between Bells was recorded in June 2024.
Welcome to the next era of Between Bells, the podcast where we explore the lives of our amazing teachers at Camden Catholic and learn what they are like beyond the classroom. Unfortunately, the previous host, Trish Escarilia, has graduated, but we hope to continue her work and provide you with more episodes.
This season, we're bringing you even more insightful and inspiring stories, and we're thrilled to have you along for the ride.
I'm your new host, Abigail Riley. I'm involved in varsity sports like volleyball and softball, as well as clubs like St. Martin de Porres Society and Shakespeare Troupe/Actors Guild. And I cannot wait to introduce you to some incredible educators who make a difference both in and out of school.
And I'm Ryan Mullen, your new producer. I'm on the varsity swim team. I've been a Polaris Scholar all 3 years I've been here, and I'm also a Green and White member, among many other things. We're excited to bring you closer to the teachers who shape our community and show you a side of them you might not have seen before.
So join us as we uncover what life is like for our teachers between bells. Welcome to Between Bells, the podcast where we dive into the lives of Camden Catholic High School's amazing teachers and explore what they're like outside of the classroom. I'm your host, Abby. In each episode, we'll sit down with a different teacher to discover their passions, hobbies, and stories beyond the school day. Today, we're joined by Mr. Kettelberger, or as many have come to know him, KB. Mr. Kettelberger is involved in a wide variety of activities around CCHS, from history teacher to pit director for the musical to even being an avid bowler outside of school. But what is his life like between bells? Stay tuned to find out. All right, hello, Mr. Kettelberger. Why don't you get us started by telling us your full name, your homeroom, and what subjects you teach?
All right, so as Abby just introduced me, my name is Mike Kettelberger. I also go by Mr. K or KB. My homeroom's 130, as previously 213, and I teach AP Euro, CP World and European History, and I'm also the band director.
And as we all know, you're involved in a ton of activities around here at Camden Catholic, so give us a quick rundown of what you do here.
So try and go like maybe chronological order. So during the summer, we start up with our pep band that we get ready for the football games since we don't really have a marching band. And then by the time the fall comes around, and I guess in the summer too, I help assistant coach girls soccer. And then, keep going through. So then after the fall, we start getting ready for the show. So the musical, the cabarets, anything that has to do with the instrumental music program pretty much goes through me, or practically anything that goes into the auditorium goes through me.
So quite a lot before school and during school.
Yes.
Okay, music. So why don't we get started on some history questions though, because that's your mojo. That's what you got. So what are you guys doing right now? Like, AP year is done, so
Yeah.
Are you still having class?
Yeah, I have like a really big problem of the school definitely doesn't see it as a problem, but I can't do nothing during my classes. I
think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Maybe the students don't think so all the time, but like I'm never that person that's like, oh, like let's just have a free period today. But so we definitely are like relaxed a lot more in AP Euro since we've been done, but we've been trying to do some more enjoyable things. Once we get done the AP Euro test, we always watch the film Jojo Rabbit, which I don't know if you've seen or not, but it is kind of a controversial movie in the fact that it's about this 10-year-old kid who is this blind Nazi fanatic towards the end of World War II. And it's kind of what is controversial about it is that Taika Waititi, the guy who wrote the film and directed it, he is also playing Adolf Hitler, but he's in a comedic light because he is JoJo's 10-year-old imaginary friend. So yeah, this 10-year-old kid, it's more so about how these like just brainwashed kids kind of viewed Adolf Hitler as this kind of like, superhero because they didn't know any better. So it's a funny movie. It starts off, but not to give too much away, it takes a really big turn. And we kind of discussed that since that's kind of like what we end AP Euro with.
Well, that's a very interesting perspective. I wouldn't have thought of that as a typical World War II movie. Would you say that's your favorite historical movie?
I think it honestly might be one of my favorite movies of all time.
Step up.
I'm a big Star Wars fan and stuff like that, but I feel like that's like a given. But in terms of like specific movies, I think Jojo Rabbit definitely has to be one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very nice. Are you just doing historical movie watching, or I mean, like I'm in AP US History right now,
Yeah.
and we had a project, and then we'll just watch some Glory and Hidden Figures, stuff like that.
Yeah, we definitely find some loopholes. Last year we watched Peabody and Sherman, for instance. So like, yeah, definitely not like a historically accurate film and stuff like that. But it's kind of fun just to see these different things like in this more kind of relaxed light, especially since they worked all year towards that big AP test. So it's kind of like a relaxation, but still history at its core.
No, it's good. And after they have the AP test, it's good to give them kind of a break.
Yeah,
I mean,
they earned it.
did you take the AP test when you were here?
I
You went here,
did.
right?
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I graduated 2012, so y'all can do the math. I actually didn't take a push. Fun fact.
Oh, okay.
So
I got a leg up.
Yeah, a little bit. I ended up taking AP Euro as an elective my senior year. Had to kind of. I was in the AP classes through English, but I wasn't in AP US. Which to this day still, Mr. Brennan, don't hate me, but not the biggest fan of U.S. history. I think it's kind of boring.
Okay.
So
Well.
he might hate me for it, but it is what it is.
A little bit. I mean, if you think you could take the AP Euro class right now, DBQ, what'd you get?
Okay.
To feel better about myself
Okay.
for failing
So
DBQs.
now this was your first year taking an AP class,
Yes,
correct? Okay.
yeah.
So last year, and I mean a lot of the years leading up to this, the DBQ rubric was a lot more complicated. And I think it was kind of ridiculous. I take partial credit for this, even though I had nothing to do with it. When I graded the DBQs they would do for me in class, I graded with the rubric they have now, which is a little bit more leeway. It's kind of like an and or kind of situation, more than like having to check off every single box. So if I'm going by this rubric, I'm confident I would get a 7 out of 7. I would check
Okay.
every box. If it was last year's rubric, I think I'd probably get like a 5 or a 6. I
No,
think
a
I'd
lot
probably
of-
skip over something.
A lot of things changed. Like
Mm-hmm.
last year with everyone kind of failing the AP US History and AP Euro exams.
Hey, whoa.
This is-
My AP Euro kids had good numbers last year. Shout out Brianna Dewart for getting
Okay.
the 5.
Oh, I see you. Shout out to Brianna Dewart. But I know they did make a lot of alterations to it because.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needed to happen. I mean, they hadn't made changes to it in a while, so I think it was a good thing.
That's fair. But that's great. You've been an alumni. So how long have you been working here for? You came back.
Yeah, this is technically year 6. My first 2 years, I was hired part-time by Mr. Gardner to help out with the music program. And then I was making a pretty long commute, so I was like, well, why don't I just kind of substitute while I'm here? So I was working with the music program, and I was kind of like the building sub. And then when the history position opened up, so this is technically year 6, but I'm in year 4 teaching history.
Okay. So bounced around, but still
Yeah.
came back to Camden Catholic. I mean, why? Like,
Well-
did you enjoy your experience so much here that you came back, or like what was the teaching path?
So you can take a look at this later, and anybody listening can. There's an archive room in the back of the IC here. If you go into the 2012 yearbook, first off, if you find me, don't make fun of my hair. I had hair down back practically to my shoulders. But on my future plans, it said to be a music teacher at Camden Catholic.
Aw.
So yeah, but full circle. Like honestly though, like when I was here, it kind of really made me who I was. You believe it or not, I was a really, really quiet kid all throughout grade school. And then as soon as I got here, my mom always likes to tell everybody that like I just seemed like I was a completely different kid. As soon as I came to Camden Catholic, they really let me be who I am. And my band director at the time, Mr. Gian Fortune, really helped cultivate like my musical ability, but not only just that, but just helped me cultivate myself as a person. And I always was just like, well, that's it. Like, this is what I want to do. You know, if this is what they gave me, I'd love to be able to do the same thing. And I like to think that I'm doing an okay job at that.
That's definitely the environment here at Camden Catholic.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm obviously part of band. So I think band in particular has been a big place to be yourself because it's where you have people that you're with all 4 years. Yeah. How has been being a band director? I mean, we had Mr. Gardner last year.
Yeah, the
And
goat.
then, big shoes to fill. But how has it been taking over his spot?
Well, I don't want to take credit for everything. I call him on the frequent when I literally just talked to him yesterday about some graduation stuff, about getting ready for that. But he definitely helped set the pathway for me pretty well. It honestly has been so ideal. There has not been a single day that like I'm like, oh man, like scheduled day today. Oh, I gotta teach band. Like there's not a single day where that happens, and that's partially because of the kids in it. There's such a great group to have, but it's been it's like such a breath of fresh air because now I teach 4 history classes and I have the band, and the band doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, oh, if I'm teaching, 2 classes of history and band in one day, then like I
like a
almost
fun
feel
class.
like right,
Yeah.
exactly. I almost feel like I'm only teaching 2 classes in a day because the other one's fun. Now there's times that like and you can probably agree to this if it's true. I think we do a really good job of like having a great time, but still getting a lot of work done. And I think we sounded really awesome this year. Like I think we really exceeded expectations that I had, which I don't even know what it was, but
I agree. There's times to lock in and there's times to have fun and to have fun with the music. And music is something where you can really explore personal things and explore different things within music. So it's definitely a cool subject.
yeah, I got a little selfish during the winter concert, which I didn't tell you guys until pretty much the concert, that all of the winter concert music was stuff that I played throughout my 4 years here from Mr. G and Fortune.
Yeah,
So
that was sweet.
I was a little selfish of that, but it was also because
No, it's your first year.
Right.
Honor that background.
yeah, and not only that, but it was also, I mean, I got put into the job about mid-July or so. So I
Yeah.
didn't have a ton of time to prep, and we went right into like pep band and stuff. So it was nice that I had some more familiar pieces to play, and it was really nice to be able to hear you guys bring that back from when I was here.
Yeah, something to fall back on, something familiar. That makes sense for coming back to your school.
Yeah.
I mean, what would be your favorite piece of music that you've ever played? Concert music or even in a band? Because we know you're in a lot of other bands outside of school.
Well, actually, I'm not.
Oh.
I've never played in a band.
Oh,
Like,
okay. I'm
so-
mistaken.
Yeah.
No
so,
bands.
No, I've filled in as a drummer
Okay.
for some, but
Substitute.
I've never. Yeah, pretty much. But if it hasn't been clear, I'm a pretty busy person.
Yeah.
So I've never had the time for a band. But my favorite piece of music I ever played, it's a little bit of a deep, serious thing, is that when I was in college, we played Rest by Frank Kelly when I went to Westchester University. And about 4 months prior to the concert, so we had already planned the concert rep. About 4 months prior to the concert, one of my fraternity brothers, his name was Sean Casey, he was a trumpet player, passed away from meningitis. And we just like, when we came in, because he was in that ensemble and everything, and when we came in for our first rehearsal, like after that happened, because just like band is, music school is just a really tight-knit community. So when we finally came back for our first rehearsal after that happened, it was just kind of like, all right, we're going to play Rest now. And everybody was just like, it had such a deeper meaning than what it
Yeah.
did previously.
I'm so sorry. That's awful.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, great life, great guy. Miss him a lot, but he gave me that memory, and that's something I won't forget.
That's a very profound answer and shows how music can really
Yeah, very
hold
true.
a lot of emotion, hold a lot of memories. Was that one of the ones that we played? Because we
No,
did play
we
a
haven't. Yeah, we
version
played
of Rest
one version of Rest
for the winter concert.
But this one is to Kelly's version.
Okay.
So it's actually a choral piece that was
Oh.
adapted for concert band.
Okay.
So maybe next year. We'll see.
Yeah, next year. So you haven't been in any bands,
Nope.
but what instruments have you played?
So first one I ever picked up was drum set. So drum set I've been playing since I was a young kid. And when I got to Camden Catholic, it was like we had a lot more. I mean, my graduating class was 221 kids, and that was on the smaller side. And now we're around like 150 to 160.
Yeah.
So I mean, so proportionally, the band is about the same size rate, like percentage from enrollment to band size, but we had so many drummers when I was a freshman that my band director was pretty much just like, either try something new or don't take band. So I was like, sure, I'll try saxophone. So at that point, when I got to high school, he gave me baritone sax first, which was interesting. So drums and then into saxophone. And then when I got to college, I specialized on saxophone. And then by junior year, I switched to the tuba studio.
Oh, that's a.
So
I can see that connection.
Yeah.
I can see that connection.
it's weird. It was mostly because I wanted to do drum corps, which is kind of like a professional marching band. And it's only brass and percussion and color
Okay.
guard. So no saxophones. And I
Oh,
never played marching
I
percussion.
feel so excluded. I'm
I
clarinet.
know,
I
yeah.
can't. How would you even function without us?
I know, that's true. But yeah, so these drum corps bands were, drum corps community will kill me if they hear me just say drum corps band, but whatever. They are all brass. So I was like, well, I really want to do this. So all my friends played tuba, and I was like, well, this looks pretty fun. So I ended up carrying a 42-pound refrigerator on my shoulder.
Bigger the better. You know, that is huge and
Yeah.
a big jump from drums too.
Yes. The
Oh my
funniest
gosh.
part of that was we did the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I think, what was it, I guess maybe 2015 or 2016. I forget what year it was. But I was playing tuba before it. And the paint on the Macy's, like, where everybody's on TV, the parade is also like 6 miles long.
Yeah, it's massive.
And so you're carrying this whole thing. And like I said, our tubas weighed about 42 pounds.
That's insane.
And
How can you lift that? Must
so
just
they
play
rest
it?
on the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So
like
they're
a
not
strap
sousaphones.
kind of thing?
Nope.
Or,
They just
okay.
you have to hold it in front of you and it just puts it up like almost like you're having a cannon
Oh,
on
boy.
your shoulder, which
Could
felt
be a
like
cannon.
probably could be. But the paint was super slippery, and the camera people are just unreal because they're doing this overhead shot, and I can see where I'm at. And we had this point where, because we took a lot of pride on the fact that we were not just going to run on and do our thing like a lot of people do because you have such limited time. We marched fully on, so we were taking these massive step sizes at a very quick pace.
Oh, boy.
And I went and just
Oh.
I ate it
Oh, no.
at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day
my
Parade
goodness.
with a giant
Live
tuba live.
With a tuba.
Yes, and
Oh
it was
my
the camera was
gosh.
above me, and as soon as they saw my horn start to move, the camera cut. So if you go back, you probably won't be able to see it unless I point it out. But I will never forget the
I'm going to
fact
have to
that
go back and watch
ate
that.
it
I'm going to
during the
find
Macy's
that.
Parade.
Mr. Kettelberger fail reel.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh my
There's not too
gosh.
many of those, so maybe a
Oh,
30-second.
Okay, okay. I'll take what I can get. That's a big transition from marching band, from from pep band, everything like that. That's more like loud sound.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been transitioning to pit director? Because you were the pit director for our musical this year, and
Yeah.
that's much more actor and choral included.
Yeah, I definitely think it's probably my proudest moment as a musician and as a director. It was hands down the most challenging thing I've done in my life in terms of music. Maybe not even just in terms of music. It was definitely the most stressful thing. And especially a show like Edwin Drood, where we have all these different endings and all these different like little tiny quips in between. It was a lot to handle.
It was a lot of difficult timing with
Yeah.
all the little mini songs.
Yeah,
in
and the
between.
fact that we have only 2 hired professionals
Yeah.
also, I mean, says a lot about us. But it was definitely a huge challenge to be able to monitor everything, especially not having a piano player until Tech Week.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, but it was definitely rewarding.
For sure. I think all the performances went well. I mean, I was in the pit, and especially with, like you said, only having 2 hired professionals. Most pits do have a full
Have no students.
exactly
Yeah, fully
a
hired.
no
yeah.
student pit. So that's very, very impressive to be able to put that off all by yourself, and with such a
Oh, was not by myself.
To-
Though.
or-
Nope. It's
as the
all
director,
kids.
as the
Yeah,
director.
would not have been able to do that with you guys. You guys don't get enough credit for this.
It was a big production. It took a lot of people from the pit. I mean, to the cast and the lighting and everything. It's so many people that go into it to making it that big of a production in such a short amount of time too.
Yeah, definitely want to start a little bit earlier this year if I can. Now that I kind of learned, but
Yeah.
hopefully it won't be as big of music this year. But we have our first.
No word on what next year will be. No
Nope.
insight. Ugh.
Nope. We
Oh,
actually
we
have
have
our,
to
we
stay
do
tuned.
we do have our first meeting on Monday. So just for people that really understand that it is a all year round plan.
Yeah.
So we have our first big meeting on Monday, which you will be getting no information.
I have like a little preview, some hints.
You
We
will
do guess
in
the
the
musical.
summer. We reveal it in the summer. You really don't have that much time.
True. We do have a little social. We
Yeah.
get to review the musical. All right. Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to hopefully being in it again. How has all of that been a balance? I mean, with soccer, with coaching, with history and music, how do you balance all of that? How do you
Yeah.
keep it under wraps?
Definitely good time management and a very understanding wife. Because the other thing was that I was planning a wedding all leading up till New Year's Eve. So that was
Yeah.
fun. But honestly, I mean, the good thing is that like soccer is pretty much done in the fall.
Okay.
So it starts in August, and that's at the same time as pep band. And then I do, if there's like a football game the same day as soccer, like I go to the football games. Like I definitely have a good boundary. That's one thing I've been really good about that I've been trying to instill on students is to have good boundaries in terms of like what you want to say yes to. My biggest thing, I used to say no to nothing.
It's
was always
difficult
just
to
a
be
yes
a
man.
talented person
Yeah,
to
and
do
I
different
get
things.
really bad FOMO. I get really
Yeah.
bad. I don't want to miss out on anything. So I never wanted to say no to anything, and I'm starting to get a lot better about that. Not because like I don't want to do something, but just to know like at what capacity. If I do too much, I'm not doing everything at 100%. I'd rather do 6 things at 100% than 10 things at 70%.
That's good, and then you commit to people.
Right.
That's good.
So that's really what it is. Understanding boundaries, which is a good facet for all of life. The importance of when you need to be home. But also, I mean, one of the biggest things about when I was here was that there were so many opportunities for me. And that's what I'm like, I don't want to put a hindrance on that for others.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to learn for students, too, with everything that's going on here at Camden Catholic and also home life, personal life. Those values are important and hard to learn.
Yeah. Earlier the better.
Yes, earlier the better, for sure. And then by then, you can be as multi-talented as Mr. Kettelberger. So, teaching. Camden Catholic. How much do you like it? No.
I love it. No. I will say, give a big shout. Like, there's literally not a single day. My job is extremely fulfilling. There's literally not a single day that I'm like, I gotta go. I mean, obviously, maybe waking up and like, a little sleep in every once in a while, but there's not a single day where I'm like, I hate my job.
Yeah,
So.
And you have a lot of amazing people like myself as students, so it can be an interesting day. It can be an interesting day. Do you have any funniest teaching moments? Any good stories?
Okay, so I think I have a couple here actually. So I think the honorable mention is because it's not necessarily a teaching moment, but like I swear there's always like I swear I've seen it all, and then you haven't. So for instance, this year, I'm not going to drop any names, but 2 of my students, they're freshmen this year. They're great kids. They brought in a cookie cake this year, and I'll show you a picture of it afterwards, that said, sorry we talk so much in icing. But the reality is, like, they're not disruptive students. Like, okay, maybe it should have said, like, sorry we're on our phone too much. But they're not disruptive. It's really great.
Better something than nothing.
Right. I'm like honestly though,
Take
if
the
I get a cookie cake from this, I mean, you can talk a
Yeah,
little bit
right.
more, right? So that's like the honorable mention because it's not really a teaching thing. But one of my favorite projects that we do in AP Euro, which you're getting spoilers because you're taking this next year, right?
Next year.
Is in the beginning of the year, every H day stands for History Day. It's the best day. We go over a different like kind of thinking process for history. So rather than just being like, okay, let's study history, it's more of how should we study history? Because there's going to be things on the AP test, which you can probably attest to with APUSH, that like you probably haven't talked about because it's impossible to cover everything in these classes, especially in AP Euro. So one H day we did making connections. So if you can connect something that happened back in 1400 to something that's happening in 1980, shows that you really understand the big picture of things. So one assignment I had was based off of Dante's Inferno, which is from his Divine Comedy. It was written around the 1100s. So something that's really old, right? Like I think Moff might even remember that book being written back in 1100. So one thing that he does is that in his book, anybody who wronged his family, he put in a different level of hell, the underworld.
Oh,
so each
kind.
level,
Be nice to Dante.
Right. So I equivocated kind of like if you've ever seen Mean Girls, it's the burn book.
Yeah,
right.
okay,
Anybody
I
who
can see
wrongs
that.
the plastics
Fiery
gets put
hell.
into the burn book.
Yeah.
And it's over exaggerated, right? So my assignment to them is that you have to pick one level of Dante's Inferno. You have to figure out like what the punishment is because it's all kind of poetic justice and like what their punishment is for their sin. So the connections part is that you have to take a modern person and you have to put them into a certain level of Dante's Inferno.
Okay,
There's
well,
a couple
some of the
parameters.
subjects.
Yeah, so there's a couple parameters to it. You can't put me in there. You would automatically fail. Yep.
Ninth level.
So you can't do that. And I say that you can't do Hitler because that's kind of an easy cop-out. But I got some really interesting ones. So this past year.
Hi, producer Ryan here. I just wanted to interject. After talking to Mr. Kettelberger, he meant to say Liam Lyons and Ben Trong, not Pat Kelly and Ben Trong.
Shout out to, I think it was Pat Kelly and Ben Trong did Ben Simmons.
Interesting. I don't know the Ben Simmons lore.
Yeah, 76ers player.
Well,
that was,
I know who he is, but why
Ben
is he
Simmons,
in hell?
They put him in a fraud.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was one of the ones they did. One of my first years, someone put Madonna
Ooh,
in the 9th level.
controversial.
Yes, so all the
Scandal.
Madonna lovers out there, somebody thinks that she belongs in the lowest part of hell, which is reserved for traitors,
Ooh, goodness.
because they thought she was a sellout. They thought like all of her music was like copied off of others and like all this stuff. So it was interesting that we take something that was from the 1100s and we have to make it relevant to 2024.
History repeats itself.
Yes.
And those historical thinking skills are important to relating things, especially on the AP test where you go over perspectives that you wouldn't even thought of.
Yeah.
So that's a good relating to sort of modern times. I think that's what history is about, is bringing the past to the present.
Yeah, and I try not to make it just about like memorizing facts, put it down a test, and move on.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
that's
like,
not learning.
right? And again, you'll hear this. I repeat myself a lot in my classes, so you'll hear this. Is that if I ask you when the Magna Carta was signed, do you know?
I don't know what that is.
Cool. How can you find out?
Looking it up?
Well, in 5 seconds, you can probably Google it.
Right.
Right. You don't
Right.
have to memorize that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
It's not that. That's not the purpose. So
The
it's all
technology.
about critical thinking and reasoning and that kind of thing. So I like to think that through that kind of project, even though some of it was a little bit comical, but they really did hopefully get something out of it.
No, those are lifelong skills. I mean,
Yeah.
being able to do something for yourself, to think outside the box, are important to things like jobs and other pursuits that aren't just memorize it and
Right.
repeat it.
Right.
That's a very good teaching strategy. Yeah. So you've been with a lot of good teachers. I've taught here in Camden Catholic, and as you've had people at Camden Catholic as teachers, who are some of your teachers that have stayed, that have come back? Any returners from when you were here?
So a couple shout outs to Matt Hoover, who just left this previous year to work at Jefferson, and Greg Gardner. They were both a year ahead of me. So they graduated the year before me. So those were kids that I went to school with that say I'm not the only one. We have a lot of alumni that teach here. I believe Keo is, there's a ton. There's probably a ton that I would miss, so I'm not even going to try and name them all. But when I started here, I would say probably like 85 to 80% of the faculty was all the same.
Oh, wow.
So we have really good retention here, which shows that the teachers really love what they do, and I can attest to that now as being one of them. But the one person that you don't know who taught here, I think for 55 years,
Wow.
Was Mr. D'Antonio, Mr. D. It was pretty much like when I was in school here and I would say, oh, I went to Camden Catholic, and someone was like, oh, I did too. Is Mr. D still there? That was like always the first question I got.
Yeah.
And he's honestly the reason why that I'm a history teacher, which all of his classes are now taught by Buchanan, who was also his best friend, by the way.
Oh.
So D'Antonio, and which no relation to current Mrs. D'Antonio, him and Buchanan were always really similar, and they taught world and British literature, or Western literature, which is where I started getting my interest in history. But rather than going from the literature side of things, I was like, well, why are they writing these things? Like, what is it that's going on in civilization that makes them want to write these things?
More the historical context.
So even though it was an English class or a literature class, that's what really started, because I really love Greeks and Romans, which is where I start with my freshmen. So I would say D'Antonio is the big shout out. Moreni and I have been friends now. Moreni was the first person that I talked to when I went to open house when I was like 12 or 13 years old. Was in her homeroom in 109, where she still is. So at first it was like interesting, being amongst the people that taught you now, as like I remember Mr. Matt Crawford. We went to a Phillies game during our faculty, and I said, he showed up with his family. I was like, oh, hi, Mr. Crawford. And he goes, Mike, we work together. If you ever call me Mr. Crawford again.
You've graduated.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
You've leveled up.
Yeah.
Aww.
So it was a little bit to get used to at first, but I mean,
that's
now
great
it's
outreach.
it's
That
seamless,
shows
yeah.
how much Camden Catholic really brings people back and brings
Yeah.
people together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd want to bring back from when you were here at Camden Catholic?
Ooh, I tried it a couple times, and junior guys, I'm talking to you here. Mr. CCHS was here.
I think that was a couple years
We
ago.
tried. We kept
Right.
trying, and nobody would sign up for it.
Aw.
So it's kind of like a fake pageant for senior guys. It starts off with like an opening dance number. It was ridiculous, and we used to do a calendar shoot. Like, we would make a calendar.
No, that sounds hilarious.
Yeah, it was
Oh my
hysterical, and it
gosh.
was a huge
I would
fundraiser.
vote. I would 100% vote.
Yeah, so we used to have so many guys that would sign up for it that you had to fundraise for your spot, because they only took 12
well,
spots,
that's a good
one
cause
for each
it
month.
too. Yeah.
So my year we did 9 spots, and it was one for each planet. And it was so fun. Mr. Hoover crowned me as the 2012 Mr. CCHS.
Oh, congratulations.
So Hoover was before me.
You are Mr. CCHS.
And I want to bring that back. It was so fun. It was so funny. It was a great fundraiser. But guys, don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
No, that's a great way for them
so
to come out
much
of their
fun.
shell in a fun way.
And all these guys are so goofy and like in the
Oh
best
my goodness.
way.
Yes.
Come
We
on.
have some goofy guys.
Yes.
I think they would be totally into that. I think we should bring that back as well.
Yeah, I think we should.
Speaking of goofy, is there anything outlandish you'd like to bring to Camden Catholic? You know, donut bar or bouncy castle, anything cool like that?
All right, I have a serious one and then a fake one.
Okay.
The serious one, how sick would it be to have a second turf field?
Yes.
That's like whenever
please.
we used to,
or a track.
yeah.
A track,
well, that's
perhaps?
the thing. So if we have a second turf field, we could put a track around that.
That would
one.
be awesome.
So, because I've been to a couple public schools, which obviously funding is a little bit different there,
Yeah.
and I get that. And big shout out to Dulzak family for helping us with that turf. But how great would it be that second practice field to have turf and a track and stuff like that? So I always joke if I won the lottery, a couple of teachers we went around that would say, what would you bring to the school? Like, what would you donate? And like to name after yourself.
Aw.
So the KB practice field
KB
would be a
practice
good
field?
one.
That'd be very nice.
If I won the lottery. So you can hold me to that. If I win the lottery. And then the funny one I think would be awesome, but will never happen. Bring in a Camden Catholic bowling alley.
Yes, like attached to the building or
Yep.
somewhere in the building, like down the hallways.
No, not down the hallways. That might get a little dangerous when they're at their lockers.
Oh, forget about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't
I'd
throw
rather
gutter
have
balls
live
anyway, so.
entertainment.
That's true. But no, building attachment, throw it on, give me the bowling alley.
That would be awesome. I would bowl if it was for right next to me. That'd be so cool. Are you also bowling coach?
I
right?
helped bring the team in, but now with being the band director, it's the same time as the bowling season, the pit season is.
That's difficult.
Which again, like I said earlier, establishing boundaries,
Right.
knowing how much you can do to give 100%. I knew the pit was going to need my 100% attention. So, because if you remember your, I guess, freshman year when we did Holiday Inn,
Yeah.
I wasn't really in until Tech Week when I was playing oboe or fobo.
Fobo.
For those that know. If you know, you know. So then I knew I was like, I need 100% dedication to the pit this year. So I wasn't around for the bowling team this year, but I do like to think that I helped Joe Non start the team up, which was good.
How is your involvement outside of school with bowling? Are you still an avid bowler or any
yeah.
of those hobbies?
So I bowl I'm trying to get to like at least a tournament a month. And I usually have about 2 bowling leagues a week.
Okay.
One of which I'm like dedicated in, and then the other one I'm like a off the bench kind of guy. So if somebody can't make it, they call me.
You're there.
We came in second this year, lost in the championship in
Congratulations.
true
That's still
Philadelphia
awesome.
form.
Yeah, yeah, really. Philly sports style. Have you ever played Wii bowling?
I
consider myself a Wii bowling extraordinaire.
I
so
loved
think
Wii
we can
bowling.
Go head ahead.
You'd probably beat me.
Oh, okay.
I would
okay.
give you that. I'm not a good Wii bowler, and it's weird.
Really?
Yeah. So and I've had the Wii since it came out. So like it was the first thing obviously every Wii came with, but I'm not good at Wii bowling. My average
Fake
in
bowling
Wii
fan.
my average in Wii bowling is lower than my average in real life.
Oh my god. I don't even have a bowling average, and my Wii bowling is higher. It's higher than yours. Haha.
Well, there you go.
That is-
You got me at something.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I do. Have you ever bowled a perfect game?
In Wii bowling?
In real bowling,
no.
not in Wii bowling.
I've never gotten the perfect game in Wii bowling. I've had 3 in real life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a 300, right?
Yep.
A
12
300?
strikes in a row.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. I could not even imagine. Neither could Philadelphia sports. What is your favorite sports team?
So I'm Philadelphia for everything, and you'll hear a lot of like the radio stations be like, "Oh, Philadelphia's a 4-for-4 city." It's not a 4-for-4 city. It's a 5-for-5.
Oh, special for the team.
Okay. The hot take here is that the Union need to be considered in all major Philly sports. So Phillies, Sixers,
soccer.
Eagles,
Who watches
Flyers,
soccer?
and Union.
Okay.
The the Union people are gonna. Oh, I hope the Union people don't hear us. They'll every single time.
I am not a massive soccer fan.
97.5 when 97.5 The Fanatic posts a Twitter poll all the time, being like, "Oh, who's the closest to winning the next Philadelphia championship?" And it'll have like the 4 options. I am telling you, the Union fans go nuts, being like, "Where's the Union option?" Even though we have not been great this year, but it is what it is.
Are you involved with the Union fan base? How is it over there?
Yeah. So the interesting thing about soccer, which is what I really love about it, not even just the sport itself, but it's the environment. We're not to the level of Europe or Mexico or any of these other places that really have where it's the number one sport, because it is the world sport. It is the number one most watched sport in the world.
Yeah.
Just put that out there.
Give you that.
But it's almost like in the same way that like anybody playing in the NBA or playing in the NFL, you hear all these people coming from, Embiid coming from Cameroon, and you're having all these people from Slovenia and all these people playing in the NBA. That's the opposite for soccer. So all of the really good soccer players that are developed in the United States, their big goal is to play in Europe, which makes sense. It's where the top level is.
That's where it's big.
So it's going to be tough to kind of get to that level because everybody wants to play where it's the best.
Yeah.
Even though we have Messi playing over here now.
Hard for America.
Yeah. But the environments are really great. So the difference between a lot of soccer games and other sports is that we have a dedicated supporter section. So there's rules to being in it. You are not allowed to sit down.
Wow, official.
You're singing and chanting the whole time, and in which I'm the drummer for the Union's supporter section.
That's awesome. Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
That's big news. You are the Union drummer.
Oh, there's a couple of us, but yeah, me and my buddy Jay have been kind of doing it. Jay's been doing it for like 10 years, my buddy Jay, pretty much since the beginning of it. I think I'm on year 5 or 6.
Do you lead chants, or what does being the Union drummer entail?
So there's 2 teams. There's the capos, which you'll see people going throughout the stands or on ladders that are shouting through megaphones, like all the different chants or the different songs and stuff like that for all the different words. And then in order to keep everybody on tempo, the drummers kind of, it's nothing like overly complicated. It's just like 2 big bass drums. But we like to make it complicated because Jay, my partner in crime, also did drum corps. So we both kind of are in that same kind of try hard and regimented kind of thing.
Right.
So I like to think we're the best drummers in MLS. So,
okay. Do you have any chants on hand? Any that we could hear?
Nope. Got to go to a game.
All right. Well, go watch a Union game for Mr. KB.
I'll be right behind the goal.
Maybe you'll get some fans, some Philly fans.
I do like having a couple times. A lot of people will stop by in the section and say hi, which is fun.
That's very nice. That's very nice. It's good to see student outreach.
Yeah.
Speaking of Philly, have you always been in the area, or have you traveled a lot?
So I'm a big traveler, mostly, honestly, thanks to Camden Catholic. But grew up in South Jersey my whole life. Lived in Philadelphia for about a year, and then moved back. Now I live in Pennsauken. Where have I been? So states-wise, I really haven't been all that far around the states. Been to the West Coast a couple times, but traveled over to France, Luxembourg, Belgium, Germany, England, Italy, Mexico, and Canada, which
I have not been to either. So,
well, it's a great time. I highly suggest it. I think traveling is one of the best things people can do. I did a big study abroad when I was in college it was only about 2.5 weeks, but we went to 4 of those countries: France, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Germany.
Oh, that's impressive.
For the centennial anniversary and study of World War I. So that was 2014.
School's a big place to travel. I mean, I haven't been on any of the travel trips, but I would certainly like to.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to get involved with the rest of the world.
Yeah, and one of the best things about college study abroad is that it counts as a class. So you're completing your college degree while you're doing that.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just that. I mean, yes,
you have a purpose.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can apply for, like, there was so many different grants and scholarship opportunities that were given by the European Academy for people that needed some financial help for it. So I always condone studying abroad. I wouldn't do it your first year, just because you want to get yourself established in your school, kind of get the flow of college and all that stuff, or whatever you're doing. Because I went over my junior year, which was really nice.
Well, that helps other countries get involved with American culture, as well as America's learn from other people's cultures. That's definitely good in integrating both places.
Yeah, one of my best buddies actually went to Drexel. And he was on an exchange program from Scotland. So he's back in Scotland now. He's learning how to grow hearts. Fun fact.
Heart?
Like the human heart.
Grow them, like make them.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so that if
interesting.
you
I didn't
have-
know you could grow a heart.
Yep.
Like in
well,
a
they're
lab?
working on it. Yeah. So
Okay.
like he's doing.
I was
things...
imagining like planting seeds. I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah, a little water, sunlight. No, what he's
Then they
doing
look
over
impaired.
there is like, so for instance, if somebody has a heart attack, a portion of their heart is like done.
Oh.
So it like doesn't recover. So that's what makes heart attacks not just obviously in the event really problematic, but they're really long term. So he's doing studies on how to kind of recreate those sections.
Yeah, is that like a synthetic process or more of like borrowing other people's hearts? Do you know?
Well, I teach history and band, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll have
We'll
to
have
ask
to
about it
bring-
more.
we'll have
Yeah,
to bring
a lot of
Dr.
the
Wynn
stuff.
in
Yeah,
here.
a lot of the stuff that he says kind of flies right over my head.
That's fair. Stick to history.
Yeah.
Are you big, when you travel, a big food person? Like, do you have any favorite foreign dishes?
I'm really big. I've been to the Caribbean a couple times, but I really love Caribbean food.
Okay.
All the different spices that they use there. But I'm trying to think. I mean, like one of the first things that my mind went to was like English fish and chips. What I mean. I know that,
okay.
but
boring.
if you have an authentic fish and chips, I'm telling you, it's different. It's very good.
Real fish, it's different. It's chips and fish.
Sure.
Or-
I mean, either
Or is
option.
it the correct French fries? And
No,
not
it's
the-
chips.
It's
It's
chips.
chips. Nope, it's chips.
Okay. Fancy over there. Well, fish and chips, not bad. I'm not a huge fish person. I'm more of a chicken person, but sure, I'll take that. Speaking of travel, still, any favorite flags? Since you are a history teacher, any favorite country flags?
It's it wouldn't be considered a flag, I guess, but it's more of a crest. I don't know. Maybe it is on their flag still. I haven't really looked. Flag of Rome. Maybe I have to Google really quick. But Rome still uses the crest with the wolf and Romulus and Remus, which is the story of the foundation of Rome.
Yeah.
So it goes all the way back to the BCs. And they still use that to modern day, the SPQR on it as well. So I think that's a really cool thing that it's been used since,
Yeah, that's great. That's
the
stood
dawn
the
of its
test
city.
of time.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like one of the really good ones. I have Roma's scarf from their soccer team.
Oh, okay.
Or their football team. They might kill me.
Football.
Yeah. So they still use that as their crest, which I think is pretty cool. But the Pennsylvania flag or the Philadelphia flag is also a pretty good one.
I don't even know what that looks like.
Well, here, I'll give you a hint of what it looks like. These Philly Connect jerseys that everybody's saying is not a Phillies jersey.
I don't think they're that bad.
They're cool jerseys, but I think it's also because they're Union colors. So that's why I'm kind of...
You're a little biased.
Yeah. But those jerseys are based off the Philadelphia flag.
Oh,
So
okay.
the flag
that
is
makes
blue and
sense.
yellow.
I
Right.
do like the bell. I like the little bell decals. I think those look very nice.
The hats have been really popular, I've seen. But a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, oh, these aren't Phillies jerseys, which I'm
I
kind of
think
with
the
you on
colors
that.
is a thing.
Yeah, but it's
But
called a City Connect jersey. You're connecting yourselves to the Philadelphia flag. That's
I think
the
it's
whole
an
purpose.
important cause. I mean, I get the understanding behind it.
Yeah.
Phillies are
I get
red,
both sides.
but-
Yeah,
but
they're red and white. They're
It's
red
it's
and
hard
white.
to get used to, but it's cool to look at. Like
Yeah.
they do objectively look kind of nice.
Yeah,
May-
they
may
would
not
be
objectively,
a
but I think
great
they look nice.
Union jersey. They'd be a
Yeah,
great Union jersey.
yeah.
They're not necessarily a great
Does Union
Phillies jersey.
have them?
No, so they have their own. They
Excluded again.
Yeah,
Not one of
well,
the four.
Well, every sport does their own jerseys.
I guess, yeah.
So that's my defense there. But
Okay, fair.
soccer does a thing where every year, which it's kind of just a money grab, but every year they get a different jersey. So like this year they got a new home jersey. So next year they get a new away jersey.
Oh, that's
and that's
really
like
cool. I like
that's
that.
league wide. So
And that's good, like updates.
yeah, and also just makes me want to buy more jerseys, which is
Of course, of
rough
course.
for the wallet.
You know what? That's a cause. Do you have a favorite design? Any good ones in the
Yeah,
past
so take a
couple of
look.
years?
It's called the Philly Bayou jersey. It's this like nice light blue, and the Sons of Ben, the supporter section for the Union, actually designed the jersey. So that's why it was kind of nice that
Oh,
it was
no,
like
that's
really
great, 'cause it's
connected
by
to
a
fans.
fan. Yeah, that's
So it's
awesome.
literally by you. So it's and the U is for Union. So so
okay.
it's this really nice blue. And it's got kind of like subtle lightning bolts because it's Sons of Ben for Ben Franklin.
So, okay. So that's
yeah.
I like that thought process.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
good
when
stuff.
the jerseys have like symbols that mean other things within the city.
Yeah, mine's starting to get really beat up and starting to get really kind of run down. But
It's love.
They don't
It's
they don't sell
well-loved.
them anymore. I'm like, I can't stop wearing it though. It's my favorite one.
Vintage.
Yeah,
You can probably some eBay or something.
yeah.
Well, this is kind of a shallow question, but
Okay.
since we're on this blue, favorite color?
It has to be blue. It's
Oh,
the
okay,
most.
okay.
I know it's like
For no, that's I'm green or blue.
Okay.
Depends on the day. Depends on what I want to say.
I think there's so many different shades of blue. I think it's also it goes with everything.
Yeah.
Like when I was really, which I still am, when I was really, really into the Flyers when I played hockey, like orange was my favorite. But like you can't wear
orange is not.
It's
it's a
lot,
nice
you know?
color,
I mean,
but
you
it's
can
not
wear it,
very
but-
easy
right.
to match with other
And everyone
things.
just associates it with Halloween anyway.
Yeah.
So
Blue's kinda
blue is one of the
universal.
best, but I also think that the most superior neutral is gray though.
Gray,
Yes.
not like
Gray
I think
is
I
the
would say.
superior
I think
neutral.
I would say white because I feel like it goes with a lot of stuff.
Gray
but I
goes
guess
with everything.
gray, white, black, they all kind
Gray
of go
goes
with
with
everything.
everything.
Okay, fair. And gray and blue, sort
And
of
you can do like a silver,
stormy
you can do
sky
like
kind of
metallic.
thing.
Yeah.
Metallic, you can jazz it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Silver. So, I think that's it for my miscellaneous questions. Most of these were pretty important.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I do have another miscellaneous question that kind of goes back to Camden Catholic and another side of silly Camden Catholic.
Okay.
Where would you hide in a
boy.
school-wide hide and seek? Now, for context, this is like my life dream. I don't know why, but someday I got it in my head that if we had a school-wide, even when I was back, I went to St. Joan of Arc for my middle school, and I always thought that it would be so cool if we could have a hide and seek because school's a giant building and there's a lot of
Right.
like closet and stuff, and playing hide and seek with like all my friends would be so fun, especially like flashlight hide and seek. I think that would be awesome.
That'd be interesting. I would hide on the third floor pool.
Okay. Interesting choice. The pool that exists
On the third
on
floor.
the third floor that we have.
It's the roof. Yeah, the
On
roof
the roof.
pool. You didn't know we
On
have-
the roof. On the roof.
If you
on
you
the
put
roof
these if you put
pool.
these shades up, actually, you'll see that there's actually chairs sitting right outside of it. There's like lounge chairs for it.
I'm going to be totally honest. I've had so many people tell me this that I don't know if it's true anymore. I don't know because I've had some people joke and some people. I don't know. I know it's stupid.
I'm
I
not
know
giving
it's
anything.
stupid,
I'm just
please.
saying that's where I would
I've
hide.
had some people joke and some people be like, "I'm dead serious,"
Okay,
and like
but
you
for-
look me in the eye and be like, "Is there a pool?" And I never know, and I'm bad with sarcasm. I can't even lie.
Well,
Would you hide on the third
you're
floor
trusting.
pool?
It's not
That
that
I
you're not
trust-
gullible. You're trusting.
Okay.
Right?
I'll take it.
No, there is no pool up there.
Yeah,
there is not.
is.
And for liability reasons,
I
I will
100%
not tell
believe it
you.
now.
I will not tell you where I would hide because the worst thing that I need, is having a student going and hiding in
Oh
God
my
knows where,
gosh, okay.
and being like, "I heard this from Mr. Kettelberger."
I heard this that he said we should hide there and never go to class.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's fair. I think I picked something basic like a closet or something.
Yeah.
I really haven't picked a spot, but that's interesting. I like our building. It's a square. I can't get
Can't
lost.
get lost.
I
Exactly.
cannot get lost.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Whenever we have to go to another school, I'm like, I don't know where I
It
am.
is so
I need a map.
confusing. My local
I need a
high school
GPS.
is Cherokee, and
Yeah.
it has like 3 buildings. I don't know what I am doing when I'm over
Yeah,
there. but
RV is
this
the same way.
A nice little square. I can find my way to class.
Yep.
Even PVI over there, like a W or an eagle, or
I
whatever
think they
they
were
say
trying to
it
get it
is.
shaped like an eagle.
I think they do. Like I shadowed there, and they were like, "We are shaped like an eagle," and I was like, "I'd rather be shaped like my classes."
I can only
cannot
tell if
find
I'm
the
in a
bathroom.
helicopter, so.
Exactly. I'm not looking at it from the top. No, that's confusing. I like Camden Catholic. I like the little
Yeah,
the little
it's-
square.
there's
I
beauty
go
in
my
simplicity,
circle.
you
There
know?
100% is. There 100% is, and I like everything being near each other.
Yeah.
Cafeteria, band room.
I will say,
bathrooms, piano lab.
who was
It's
it?
great.
It was, maybe was it? Because I used to be in 213. Now I'm in sophomore hallway. I think it was Mia Martinez. Shout out to you. She took my bathroom pass and came back like 25 minutes later. So of course I'm like, "Oh, why were you cutting class?" And she's like, "I got lost." I was like, Mia,
I think I've used that excuse
how did you get
before.
lost? It's a square. Well, rectangle, I guess. For being
It can
specific.
happen. It can happen. You know, you stop here. There's a line in the bathroom. I
But
shouldn't
it's
be
a
endorsing
square.
that,
No, you
but still. So you mentioned you were in 213. How many rooms have you bounced around in?
Technically 3 if you want to count the band room.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, 3. 213 is where I started. It was Palladino's room before me, but you didn't know her, and Mrs. Feehan, who. Did you know her? Probably not.
I
No,
do
I think
not.
she's 2 years out now. She used to be the senior moderator before I did it. So she was using 213 as her homeroom. And then I was very confused because I was not supposed to have a homeroom my first year. And I walk in and there's a giant class of seniors in there. And I'm like, what's
Surprise!
going on? Yeah,
You
pretty
got
much.
a bunch of seniors.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was fun. and then moved down to 130, which, fun fact, was my sophomore homeroom.
Oh, big circle.
Yeah, a big square, right?
Oh, big square.
But the funniest thing about that room was there used to be this giant bookshelf in the back. It used to be Mr. Clark's room. So if you had Clark before, you might remember the bookshelf that was back there. And this thing went from it was the entire width of the classroom pretty much. But it took up so much space. And I'm like, I'm not going to use this. So I cleared out all the books, cleaned off the shelf. We actually use that in the auditorium now. Fun fact, it's hanging on the wall for all of our tools and stuff. But I found books from, 1988.
My goodness.
I worked at Rancocas Valley as their marching band director for 1 year. And I've known their principal since I was 6 years old. He was my neighbor growing up.
Oh.
And I found his religion book from when he went to Camden Catholic
that's
in
so
1988.
Cool.
Yes.
Like a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
I was in his classroom, but I don't remember the bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't look.
It was
behind me
honestly,
very much.
it wasn't used. It was
Yeah.
all religion books from back in the day.
Religion books in a science class.
Yes, it
Mr.
was-
Clark is biology.
Yes. And quant, I think, right? Quant.
Yeah, I had him for quantitative science.
Okay.
That's awesome. I mean, do you like your room better now than
Well,
213? Do you have a favorite?
I miss senior hallway.
Yeah. Senior's a different vibe from sophomore.
Yeah, you sophomores are pretty loud.
Oh,
You guys are really loud.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Never. No.
right? I mean, don't get me wrong. It is nice to be able to see the sophomores in the hallway and stuff. But think about post May 20th, how
It's a lot.
quiet senior hallway is.
Yeah, I do like walking through
Yep.
senior hallway after the seniors are gone.
Yep.
I love the seniors. I miss them, but it's nice for the quiet.
Yep.
It's
So,
nice for
I do miss senior
the
hallway.
senior moderators.
I do miss being in senior hallway. And actually, being in 130, I'm actually farther from the band room, even though I'm on the same floor. I'm farther from the band room in 130 than I would have been in 213, even though I was
Okay.
upstairs.
How do you like your room? Do you have a favorite item? I know you have a lot of things from students and a lot
Yeah.
of drawings and things
Yeah.
like that. Do you have a favorite gift that someone's given to you, or do you have a favorite aspect of your room?
Well, I have a lot. I really do, because I'm in my classroom during the school year more than I'm in my house practically. So
It is like a little house.
So I definitely like making it homey and making it reminder of why I really love being here. So I have a couple things. One big shout out to Olivia Poella. She's a junior, I think, right now. After we got done our Renaissance test, in 15 minutes, you can take a look on my podium. In 15 minutes, she drew me in the style of the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
That's incredible.
So I have that laminated on my podium. So
That's
I love
awesome.
that
In
one.
15 minutes, nonetheless.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
after doing a test.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yeah, it was
gosh.
like she was bored. So what'd she do?
She was like,
Draw
I drew
her
the Mona
teacher
Lisa.
as the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
That is incredible.
So take a look at that next time you're in 130 visiting Allie.
I will be.
I have on my left side of my desk, I have whenever kids give me their senior grad portraits, I have them.
That's sweet. I love
fake
seeing all the
laminated.
senior pictures in everyone's
So
classroom.
just it's a good reminder of all my past students.
Yeah.
A lot. And then I also have a picture board in the back of my wall. So as we've talked about, I do a lot of events here.
Right.
So anytime I have pictures with students or doing really cool things with students, I have them by year. I'm almost done filling up my next one, which I'm going to put on my back wall. So then
that's
hopefully
awesome.
by year, God knows how long I'll be here,
You'll
I'll
have
have a
old
whole
pictures.
documentation
Oh, no,
of all
that's
my
super
different
sweet.
years
like
here.
a little on the wall.
Yeah, like scrapbook almost
kind of
thing,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But also got to give the special shout out that the right side of my desk is reserved for my wife. We have pictures from different events that we've done here. And the flowers on my desk are the wooden flowers that she made for our wedding. So,
That's so sweet.
special shout out to that.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a nice personal touch.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream workspace? If you could work anywhere, or if you could just change your room to anything like bean bags or anything like that?
Well, the desks are a little dated. So
Yeah.
I know some of these classrooms, like Mareni's classroom,
Oh, the little
has
spinny chairs.
my
I
God,
love
I
those.
would never want that.
No, I love them so
No,
much. I could
never,
to spin.
never.
I
It's,
get to
it's
spin.
absolute just disorderly chaos in there.
A little bit. A little
Well,
bit. but
not
anything
like
you
in the
can
classroom
move
environment,
closer
but
to each
just
other
yeah,
and
no.
It's fun.
Nope. I
can understand how that would
But you've
be
seen how I have
difficult
my
for
desk.
a teacher, though.
You've seen how my desk is set up, right?
Yeah.
So I have they're in windows, and I have an aisle that I walk through. I'm a big classroom pacer. I don't like standing in one spot. That way, nobody's really in the back. So
I
to
like
speak.
that too. So you can it keeps you engaged with
And
the
it's
teacher, too.
discussion based. So
Yeah.
I really love the way I have it set up there. But honestly, no, I love my classroom. Dream workspace, and I think I'm good. If I didn't change anything for a little while, I'd be cool. I'd be good.
I think I take beanbags. Something cool like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, maybe for me, not the students. No.
What? No, I want a little personal beanbag.
Maybe that would be like if
better.
top 5 test scores get the.
Okay. I like the
beanbag.
little stool in Mr. Brennan's room. It's like the little wobbly stool. Mr. Brennan is our other history teacher, and my A-push teacher. He has these little wobbly stools that we can sit on sometimes. They're very fun. I fall off a little bit, but they're fun.
Interesting. I'll
Invest.
take a look.
I suggest that you invest for my AP Euro next year.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
100%.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. Well, this has been a lot to learn about
Yeah.
about you in between bells.
Yeah.
From history
I wonder
to
if we
pit
get
band.
the bells. Are we gonna pick the bells up on these mics?
The bell did ring. I'm not sure if it will pick it up or not.
It's okay.
but
We only missed about 4
Ring.
classes. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
have a little-
Oh
you
gosh,
could hear
the button.
a bell.
Just want to watch
Just
the
a little,
levels spike.
a little bell right there next
And
to
the
me.
actual
Here
bell
in this-
just rang,
Oh,
actually.
The bell just rang in
Yeah.
CCTV,
Yeah,
or not
starting
in
the last,
CCTV.
starting the last
So
block
going
of
into the
third.
last block of third period, our schedule's a little wonky, but I think it's fun. So this has been awesome.
Yeah,
Getting to learn
thanks for
about
having me.
Pitter. Of course. Thank you for being the first pilot episode. I mean, it has been great to start something new. I mean,
Yeah.
we wish Trish was still here with us.
Shout out
but
to Trish.
Shout out to Trish for starting everything. She's done so much for this podcast and has been the host. But I look forward to taking it over with Ryan Mullen.
Yeah.
So I think that would be great.
Cool. All
yeah.
right, thanks,
Thank
Abby.
you so much.
Yeah.
All right. See you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Between Bells. We'd also like to extend an extra special thank you to Mr. KB for helping us kick off this season. Be sure to stay tuned for more episodes. Other than that, I'm Abby, signing off for now.